Listen.
Welcome to NVC, IGN's Nintendo podcast. I'm here with Brian Altano.
Hi.
Per Snyder.
Hello.
And Tom Marks.
Hello.
I'm your host, Casey DeFritis, and today we're talking about a lot of stuff. Brian's finally going to get to talk about the art backlash of the Link's Awakening remake.
Finally, an excuse to talk about Link's Awakening.
Wow. I know,
on
right?
An IGN property for the first time in my career.
I've enjoyed all your articles about that. It's
Thank
awesome,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Harry's going to get to give you some of his opinions of the Direct last week because he was not here. And Tom is going to talk about, guess. Can you guess? It's Hollow Knight. He's going to get to talk about Hollow Knight. You're so excited.
That can't be true.
This is my week.
I know.
You and I had a fantastic 24 hours, by the way.
Dude, we did.
Where like things that we're really into got either sequels or remakes tailored specifically at us.
Well, you were tearing up at Link's Awakening, and I was like, that's crazy. I don't know what game I would tear up for. And then I was in bed watching the Silksong trailer, just like, I can't handle this. Like, I'm so excited.
I really am excited to hear about what you guys think about all that stuff. But hey, Pear, give us a quick recap of Nintendo Direct last week and your favorite things from it.
First of all, I wish a new Monster Hunter will be announced soon for you so that you can join in on the fun, obviously. Anytime there's a new Zelda game announcement, I get wings.
You do, right? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Someone starts cutting onions in their room.
I really enjoyed the Direct. There were, it was a good length. There were some smaller titles, some kind of throwaway stuff like Assassin's Creed 3, which I would be more excited about if it looked a little better. I don't know what happened there.
I did hear it was because of the stream and the footage actually did look better, but something happened with the transmission.
Hopefully that's true. And that's a pretty good game. It's not as good as AC4. It's not as good as Black Flag, but it's kind of like the dour cousin of it.
It's the black sheep of the Assassin's Creed franchise.
I mean,
but it's actually
than the
better.
first one.
It's better than you remember. It has all this cool like whaling stuff and like kind of like snowed in stuff with like icebreaker ships and stuff. It's cool. Anyway, I don't know if that version will be that great though. Hopefully it's better than what we saw. No, the big announcements obviously for me were Link's Awakening. Did not expect this one.
Me neither.
I thought we'd get Skyward Sword remake before we got Link's Awakening because this is a ton more work. This is not just up-resing. They have to translate. No, they have to. So
I mean, it looks almost the same.
It's still tile-based, but they had to rework the whole way the systems work because in the original game you had like really confined screens and then it scrolls.
Yes.
This is actually untethered a bit, so you have bigger areas that you scroll through.
In the overworld areas you do. In the dungeons you don't. So those are actually black barred right now, which I hope they do something with, even if they extend the brick texture or do like some sort of
That's right, they do
wallpaper.
a 1-for-1 there. Yeah.
But the overworld's interesting because it's in widescreen, so you can see a lot of areas that you'd never see before.
Yeah.
Which when you walk to the edges of the game will be the sea.
Yeah.
Because spoilers, it takes place on an island.
What?
But there are other parts in the game where I think it would reveal secret areas that you haven't seen yet and show you different sections that are yet to be unveiled. And so I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a big surprise.
And then we'll talk about the art style later. I thought, like, just seeing it visually, I love it. That's what I wanted Link Between Worlds to look like. That kind of like taking the simplistic trees of Link to the Past and like giving them this kind of like sheen to it. I really like the way this looks, and I like the depth of field blurring too.
Yeah, there's a photography style.
It's tilt shift.
There it is. Thank you guys. Which is really smart. If you've never seen it, just Google tilt shift photography. It's basically it makes people look like they are models on like an architectural plan or something like that.
You
or
blur
like
the edges of the image.
It looks like a little toy table now, you know, like a little island on your table. I totally dig it. I understand if that's not your thing. We'll talk more about that. But the just really excited about this game. It has an awesome score. It's got a cute story that's very different from the other games. It's got some cool powers that we haven't really seen that often, like the ability to push like the spiky stuff with your shield. And, you know, like some of the side-scrolling portions, like in Zelda 2, but only in the dungeons with like jumping and all that. I'm just so happy to be able to rediscover this game. And then Super Mario Maker 2, did not expect a 2. I thought they were going to remake it and supersize upgrade the sharing tools and all that. There's a lot in there. The slopes thing is a really big deal.
Totally.
You can now make slopes, and they obviously played into that with the trailer, which was really, really well done. Totally dug that. I hope the people making auto run levels will figure out how to be a little bit more creative in the future. Like
No, I mean,
feel
they have slopes now. They're gonna be easier than ever.
I love some of the auto run stuff, and there were some really cool ideas, but they just took over, and you couldn't find any of the more creative stuff.
I love looking at Mario Maker 2. It makes me think that, like, if you had taken a time machine and you showed me this game just as I finished Mario 3 or Mario World back in the day, that this would blow my mind. That there was this much going on, that it's widescreen, that there's like giant Bowsers, and there's just so much cool stuff. One of the things we talked about last week that is still yet to be seen is I hope this isn't all of the art styles. I don't remember what the rollout was for Mario Maker, but I feel like we didn't find out about everything at once. Maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But I actually replayed Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins over the weekend because someone has modded that game to be full color. And so I played the ROM of that. I'll see you in jail. And it's really cool and it's really interesting. It's got a lot of interesting, like, unique things going on for it. So I'd love to see them call back that art style in some way.
I would love to see some Game Boy love in there.
Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, the amount of new items and new tools and auto scroll level controls. I hope there's more verticality too. I really wanted to build like some skyscraper levels.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll see what's in there, but it's. And I hope we can port our old levels because I spent way too much time making those.
What if there's a way to rotate the screen and do vertical levels, like with the flip grip or something?
That'd be cool.
That'd be hard to do with your television.
No, it's not. You just get your friend to pick up.
You can just go. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I actually was going to ask you guys. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the series. I played every single installment in the Fire Emblem series since the very beginning. I didn't think this did a good job selling people who haven't played Fire Emblem on Fire Emblem. That was my reaction to it, because I don't know. How did you guys feel?
It sold me a little bit, but
Okay,
I think
good.
I am a very small portion of people who would be drawn to that because it reminded me of an anime that I would want to watch. I don't think a whole ton of people like strategy games, and I don't know how big that cross section is.
Right.
I see what you're talking about, though, in that it felt like a trailer for people who already knew what Fire Emblem was, rather than like a trailer to sell people on it.
It's like a Dynasty Warriors trailer, right?
Yeah.
Where like you look at it, and if you haven't played a game, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this.
Maybe it's almost like the E3 trailer, which was only 2 minutes long, was that trailer. And then this trailer was just for Fire Emblem fans who were like, okay, this is what this game is actually about. We haven't told you much about it.
Yeah. Well, I do love the like Game of Thrones setup of the three houses. They really kind of
really cool.
showcased that a little bit more. You got to see more about the style. Obviously, the series has really cool animated cutscenes.
Yeah, they're so good looking.
But I felt like there was a little bit of a kind of like a core, a little bit heart missing to make people care.
I mean, I'm at the point where I am fully capable of stating that there are about 3 or 4 minutes, sometimes more, in every Nintendo Direct that just straight up aren't for me.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because usually those are the moments where I'm like jotting down notes on my phone about what I'm going to do when I get Mario Maker 2, or, just going crazy in anticipation of what they're going to bookend the event with, which this time around was Link's Awakening, so I was a very happy boy. But yeah, this I watched it and I'm like, this looks gorgeous. I don't know if this will be for me, but I'm happy it'll be for others.
Still gonna make you play it.
You are?
And then just the final two things. So obviously there was a ton of stuff in it, but Astral Chain, really nice surprise from Platinum. Can't say yet I'm getting it yet. I like the style, and obviously Platinum is a very capable developer, but I can't really tell what that game is. It looks very Bayonetta to me for now.
It was very much a this exists
Sci-fi
trailer.
Bayonetta, right?
It was like, hey, here's this cool thing we're doing. We'll tell you about it later.
But knowing this developer, they're pretty clever with their gameplay mechanics. So I think I'm sure there's more to this game. And then the Smash update tease. I know some people were disappointed that they didn't show more, but basically it was a reminder that basically said, oh yeah, we got all these characters coming out, all these announcements coming out, but there's more. And I actually think the actual reveal will be pretty sizable. I think there'll be a pretty sizable and important new mode added when they go out of their way to say, oh, don't forget, update 3 will be will be coming.
Well, I'm excited for when that comes.
I know. I'm surprised you skipped over Box Boy, which is like
Oh my god, I forgot Box Boy. Box Boy,
Brian, what did
the
you
most
do?
important franchise in Nintendo history.
I think so too. Yeah, I think this is going to be the AAA franchise that really. I think they're projecting 25 million units sold.
Box Boy is this franchise where when you look at the graphics, it's the game designer saying, "Ignore us."
Yeah,
because we did the game we wanted to make and not the game you want to see. But if you play it, they're really, really cool. They're really clever little puzzle games. And in the trailer, they showed how many different levels there really are. They got their little Jose Otero version of Box Boy too, right?
What's his name? Cutie.
Yeah,
he's
the
great.
tall
Cool
one.
one.
Yeah.
If you haven't played these games, they were previously only on handheld. They never made it to the Wii U. Just small, clever, super charming brain busters where you have to figure out how to overcome obstacles. And when you beat some of the harder levels, you'll feel like the smartest person in the world. So it's real Nintendo game design genius at work, but the package is muted.
AAA, wildly expensive, and some of the biggest gaming action-packed moments. The Fortnite
explosive.
killer, I think
For
they
those
called
of you who are bad at catching on to sarcasm,
Yes, it's not true.
It's the Fast
all
and the
Brian.
Furious of game design.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it, right?
I mean, that actually sells me on this, though.
Okay.
it is about family.
You haven't played them yet?
No, well, Box Boy,
You love it.
it's the type of game where I missed it on handheld, and if this had come out on 3DS, I probably would have missed it again. And the fact that it's on Switch and I can just take it anywhere is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
So-
I read the NPD projections, and they're saying it's going to topple Call of Duty.
yeah, it'll be the best game ever. Like, just throw away Link's Awakening. It's garbage, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just play Box Boy.
I
Can't
agree.
believe they got it to run on the Switch.
I already got a cutie tattoo. It's the length of my entire body.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, anyway, what we've been alluding to, the somewhat controversial opinions of some people from the reveal of Link's Awakening. There have been multiple threads on our Facebook group with almost 100 comments each about the art style of the new Link's Awakening remake.
Yes.
Brian,
Let's talk about it.
how do you feel about that?
First
Does
of
it
all,
really look like
This
a
has
phone
never
game?
happened before, Brian.
What?
Fine.
Talking
It's
about
like
Link's
people,
Awakening?
people complaining about art style in the Zelda game.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
as
right.
everyone knows, this has happened before in 2001 when Wind Waker was revealed for the GameCube. Everyone was incredibly disappointed because the original demo that they showed for the quote-unquote dolphin
Yeah.
looked like a better version of Ocarina of Time Link almost.
Yes.
If I'm remembering that correctly. So when they revealed Wind Waker, people had a lot of things to say and said it was childish and not mature and not
It
dark
was
enough, et cetera, et cetera.
Sort of a bait and switch, I think.
Yeah.
No fish pun intended on that one.
But
It was
now-
the expectation it would look like the demo, right?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
why people were disappointed.
that was the
Well,
problem.
also, and this is part of my theory here, is that I think that games like Ocarina and Majora's Mask split the timeline for Zelda fans in terms of what they did expect from this franchise going forward to look like. And they wanted something that was leaning more and more towards realism, which is what Twilight Princess, I think, came the closest to. Breath of the Wild a bit, but even that is like, very, very sort of, I would say, impacted by watercolor paintings and like, open landscape paintings and stuff like that. And Wind Waker came along and they're like, it's a chibi cartoon with like a chunky little boy with a fat head, and he's got very animated eyes, and everything over the top is eccentric and goofy and attacking you with bright colors and swirls and explosions and stuff like that. And people were pissed.
Yeah,
They
but
were.
We look back at it now and we recognize it looks great. It's aged super well. The cartoony figures made it
Look at the animation.
easier.
It's so
It made it
good.
easier to animate facial expressions.
Yes, definitely. And we are looking at the HD version. If you're watching, this was remade for the Wii U, which God, I hope comes to the Switch. It can wait in line behind Link's Awakening right now. But this, I would say if you asked somebody in 2019 what they thought of Wind Waker and they said it was ugly or they hated the way it looked, they would be very much in the minority.
Well, the funny thing is that it didn't even take until 2019 to have that opinion come around.
Yeah.
Because Wind Waker came out, there was a very hostile reaction towards it, very divisive, and then Nintendo was like, okay, we'll go real moody, and they did Twilight Princess, and they went very dark, kind of gritty, trying to be realism. And then by that time, everyone was like, actually, we kind of like the cartoony look. And so then on Skyward Sword, they were like, all right, we'll go back that direction.
Right.
They went back to this, not as cartoony, but brighter, more caricatures. And I think I wrote a piece about how Zelda. I tried to count up all the different art styles Zelda has.
Great
had.
piece, by the way.
Because they've been. I think Zelda, more than any other Nintendo series, is so experimental in the look of their mainline games. Obviously, this was pointed out to me by somebody on Twitter that, you know, the Mario spin-offs are very experimental with Paper Mario and stuff. But the actual mainline Mario games, a Goomba looks like a Goomba looks like a Goomba.
Yes.
And Zelda is very, very risky with their look. And I think that Wind Waker actually had one of the biggest impacts on Zelda's look as a whole going forward, because even if the Toon Link look isn't used in actual game models, Toon Link is used in all of the marketing material for tons of games. All the Four Swords Adventure stuff, they didn't look exactly like Toon Link in game, but they looked like Toon Link in marketing material.
I totally agree, and I think that Toon Link sort of weirdly enough inspired the look of the most amount of Zelda games based on it.
Right.
Like there's one Skyward Sword, there's Twilight Princess, I believe, is replicated in like Link's crossbow training, and that's about it. Maybe some other things, but Toon Link and Wind Waker inspired Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Triforce Heroes.
I actually think Breath of the Wild too. If you look at the monster design and the kind of cell shaded look,
brought back the cell shading.
That is closer to Wind Waker than it is to Twilight Princess, honestly.
Yeah, and so I think, and to get to my point earlier, I think that like some stuff like Fierce Deity Link, who is like very aggressively deviant art, and he's very much like
I like him.
Yeah, and like no, he's cool. He's got some good stuff going on for him. But that game was so like overtly dark, and it's in your face, and people thought that this is what it's supposed to look like. And Ocarina of Time had a lot of really dark moments. But if you go into the Kakariko Village in that game, everyone running around that game is an idiot cartoon character. They're like there's like that lumberjack with a log, and he's just like Dah! And like they're great. They're great characters. They are hyper stylized, over the top. Back to the roots of Zelda itself, it's I would say like inspired by Tolkien and like these chubby little elves, and it's all Katsuya Terada, who created a bunch of the conceptual artwork for Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time. It's very sketchy, and that's a little more realistic going, and so Link's Awakening, I find the backlash, which again is admittedly small, and I hate the type of journalism that's like people are mad and it's like 3 people.
The internet is upset.
I hate that. And so, but I think that this has been just big enough that it's worth talking about.
It sparked a lot of discussion.
Yeah. And so the bait and switch that we talked about with Wind Waker, in terms of here's the tech demo for the GameCube Zelda, here's the thing you got. People saw the trailer for Link's Awakening and they saw this really gritty anime cutscene at the beginning, and then it kicks into this whimsical, toyetic, candy-like world. Yeah, where everybody's got these like funny little Mickey Mouse eyes, and everything looks like it's made of like candy. Yeah. And so I want to point out that that's what the original game did. The original game had multiple art styles within it to delineate certain narratives, and it starts with a very anime-inspired pixel art cutscene, and then it kicks into top-down pixel art where everyone's got beady eyes. All the human characters have these, funny little black eyes like that. And then there are key moments in the game that cut to sort of like a full-screen image that look a little bit different. And so this, I think, to me, is very much inspired by the art of the original. And if you look into a lot of the details on that, that's where this came from. But I can see why people are upset that it doesn't look like the opening cutscenes, but that split has always existed in this game.
And in classic games, right?
Yeah.
This is a game from an era where even the title screen graphic of Mega Man looked different from Mega Man, like or the box art always looked different. That's kind of like a classic gaming tradition. I don't mind that split at all. I was actually surprised at some of the backlash. And I think it's mostly because of the Link character design and the little black eyes. I can't imagine. I mean, are there people out there who look at the graphical style and don't like that toyetic look too?
I think so.
Yeah?
I mean,
it's almost reminiscent of like Nintendo Land, which
I
love.
It
Nintendo
does look
Land
like
too.
Nintendo Land, right?
I love Nintendo Land, but I don't know if that's necessarily
the Pikmin levels, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Weirdly enough, it feels a lot like 3D Dot Game Heroes, which was a PS3 exclusive game that was unabashedly Zelda knockoff.
And it was Minecraft Minecraft Zelda.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very voxely. It was really cool in its own right. It had that depth of field blur, which the Yoshi demo has now as well. So my theory is that this game is possibly running on Unreal Engine 4, because so is that demo, which is really interesting. But no, I think that like we should celebrate the various art styles that Zelda goes through. Tom, I think your article did a great job of pointing that out. I think that some people will always want realistic Zelda, and some people always want the chunky little elf. And I think I fall on the latter, but yeah.
I hope like both. Some people can like both.
I agree. Yeah, me too. I hope people come around on this one, and I hope people give it a shot. And also, I'm just like quietly geeking out, thinking about all of the merchandise and amiibo and weird stuff that's going to come out for this game. You know what this is like for me? This is like if I had like an
Christmas
old
too?
No, it's like if I had an old penny, a dirty old penny in my house that is suddenly worth $3,000. We're like 25 years later, I'm like, I have this thing, and everyone's like, put your filthy, dirty old penny away. And now they're like, we polished it, and everyone wants it. I'm like, yay! Like I held on to some currency that's now valuable, so don't expect me to never shut up about this.
This announcement just made me so happy because you've talked about how it's your favorite Zelda game of all time on this show a couple of times.
I replayed. We had a 3-day weekend. And I replayed the DX version over the weekend because I was kind of jazzed on it, and it still really holds up, and it's still really smart. The game is really funny and quirky and whimsical.
Yeah,
and I think
it's got all these little Mario elements in it. You know, if you're wondering, that's in the original game as well.
Yep.
Goombas.
Yeah, we saw a lot of questions about that too. So, I think it still holds up. If you want to play it now, it's available on 3DS for like $4. Otherwise, wait until 2019 at some point and play it on Switch.
I'm sure people will look back on it in the future and think it's adorable and wonderful and want more games in that art style.
Yep.
Dude, real quick.
I want
Zelda
Wind Waker
Boomerang.
too, by the way.
One last note on that. If you're unhappy with this art style, go back and look at the last 2D Zelda game, which was Triforce Heroes, because that game looks dumb and bad.
Well, I would say I'll add on top of that the like candy-like claymation stuff going on here is infinitely more interesting than what happened in Link Between Worlds, which is a game I love.
Yeah, it's a really good game with a kind of a weird look.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that game that just doesn't totally gel aesthetically for me. And again, I love that game. I'm actually probably going to replay it next. Just
I
because
kind of want to play it again.
I haven't really.
But the last two 2D Zelda games, Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, felt like games. When you go back and look at them now, they feel like games that are attractive enough, but don't really they lack a sort of direction to them.
Right.
They don't have style. Yeah, you're right.
And this game very much looks like it has. They picked a style and they leaned into it, and I like that a lot more.
The debate I'm infinitely more interested in around this game is should it be $60 or should it be $40 or $50? Right. That's to me a way more interesting question because it's based on a video game that cost $30 when it launched.
But it's a whole new game.
I'm with you, and I'm also the worst person to ask because I would pay $200 for a version of this game that came with just a real egg.
Real egg.
I'll bring in an egg for you.
Brian wants an egg.
Yeah, come on.
But hey,
if you guys have eggs and want $200, Brian.
Hey, something else was announced that is also very important to someone else at this table, and that is a Hollow Knight sequel. And Tom was telling me that this is incredibly unexpected.
Dude, it's so crazy. Real quick. I've been getting a lot of really nice messages on Twitter of people being like, I saw this trailer and I thought of you immediately. And I'm like, oh,
that's
thanks.
the sweetest.
That's how I felt too.
So thank you to everyone who's been saying those nice things. But yeah, so this is super unexpected. So on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday before the Direct, the Team Cherry, the people who make it, which is like 3 guys. It's amazing that this team is so small and they're making what they do. They put out a tease that was like, we're going to show Hornet, who's this character, who's the main character of Hollow Knight Silksong, which is the sequel. We're going to show her next adventure. We're going to tease it on Thursday. And I was expecting them to show something in the Direct because they're in Australia. And so when they announced the Direct was Wednesday afternoon, I was like, okay, that's Thursday morning in Australia, so maybe it's in the Direct. And then it just wasn't. The story behind this is that this was a Kickstarter stretch goal for Hollow Knight. There was a stretch goal that was like, we're going to add a playable character, which is this character Hornet. And this was years before Hollow Knight came out. And this goal was met, and everybody has been expecting this. And then when they did God, I can't remember the name of it, God something, the last big update for Hollow Knight, they said, this is the last major content update. And everyone was like, wait, what about Hornet as a playable character? This was a stretch goal. You guys said you were going to do this. So when they announced this, everyone just expected it to be a for an expansion for Hollow Knight, because they said, you know what, previously they'd said, you know what, we can't just add her as a playable character. She needs her own thing. It wouldn't make sense in the game world. We need to give her own little campaign. So it started as a little campaign, and somehow between it's going to be a little campaign add-on for Hollow Knight and now they were like, we made it too big. It's a DLC. It's a new game.
That's
and so
amazing.
it's got 150 entirely new enemies, where the original game only had 140. So there are more unique enemies in this game than the original.
Oh my God.
Apparently, they have made so much content planned for it already that they're thinking of already breaking some of that off into DLC because it's getting too big. And Hollow Knight was a 30-plus hour game pre-DLC. It is a completely new thing. Hornet, the main character, controls differently. She has a different sort of mana system. She has different abilities. Instead of, as far as I understand it, they haven't said a ton, but as far as I understand it, instead of like upgrading her weapon like you did in the original Hollow Knight, there's a whole crafting system where you can craft traps and you can craft weapons that you like throw at enemies and do different things.
What?
So there's a whole new thing in that. They're gonna add like a quest log, because so there's actual quests you can go through now. There's all these stylistic differences too. Like the game looks,
Colors.
there's more colors.
Yeah, there's more colors.
Yeah.
Hollow
Yeah.
Knight, the first one was like everything was very dark and
Purple,
black, but then
black,
there would be
yeah.
like one color per area. This one, it seems like they're doing sort of mixes, which is really makes a difference.
It was a much more subdued looking game, and this one just has so much more going on, especially in the background, all like the fireflies and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful.
And then the other weird thing that they mentioned in a dev update, that they did this like 20-minute just like talking about how this happened because it was so unexpected. They said that the original Hollow Knight came out of a game jam about like delving down and going underneath, and so the whole game was themed around digging deeper and deeper and deeper into Hollow Nest, the place, the kingdom. Apparently, this game is the opposite. This game is all about getting to the peak of some mountain or some crest, and so instead of being
Celeste.
down, yeah, I guess instead of being down, you're actually as Hornet exploring up, and once you get to the top, that's where the big thing is going to be.
So the game should get brighter as you progress.
Oh, that would be
Potentially.
cool.
Like,
Potentially.
we don't know. I mean,
Unless
Unless
it's
there's
night.
a black sun.
That's
Well,
there's the chance.
the surface of Hollow Nest is not a bright place, so it could
Yeah.
be. I am so excited. I think the character looks so fun to control, and I can't believe this is a sequel and not just like an expansion. It's really amazing to me, and it got me genuinely emotional to know that we were getting more, because we were talking about this right before the show, this idea of games like Shovel Knight
Right.
and Hollow Knight, where they made all these Kickstarter promises and then they have to just be developing one game for years and years and years.
You have a potential of painting yourself into a corner in a
Right.
situation like that.
And I feel like they found such a clever way of getting out of that corner where they're like, you know what? We're going to take one of these stretch goals and we're just going to make it the next game we make. And everyone who backed on Kickstarter gets this for free.
That's
So,
amazing.
That's huge.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so as a stretch goal, it is still a stretch goal.
And so I think that works in their favor because this game sold really well. Like it,
Incredibly well. It sold 250,000 copies in the first 3 days on Switch.
oh my
That's a lot.
250 in three. I'm sure it sold over 1 million. I know, and these are old numbers, but over 1 million on PC. So I'm sure it sold millions of copies, which is also why it's launching. Silksong is launching on PC and Switch first, and then they said they might bring it to other consoles. They don't know. They're literally 3 people making this game, but apparently it sold well enough on Switch that
great.
they're doing a simultaneous release for it.
Yeah, I saw it
So
in the
cool.
top 10 in the eShop for quite a while. So it's been, there's certain games that hover. Like
Yeah.
Overcooked
Yeah.
2 will like never drop out.
Yep.
And then Hollow Knight was in there for quite a while.
Yeah,
That's
I'm,
good.
I'm
Good
sorry
success.
for just like monologuing.
No,
Like,
you're
No,
this is so
no.
exciting.
I do have a last question. What
Yeah.
did you give Hollow Knight on our scale, and what would the sequel have to do to make it better?
I genuinely don't remember. 9.4, 9.3,
It
something
was
around there.
amazing.
Low 9s, low mid 9s.
I'm going to look it up.
It is an amazing game. What would it have to do better is a really interesting question.
9.4 out of 10. Tom Marks.
Hey, you
9.4. I think there's a lot of ways to answer that. I think one of the biggest things is it needs to be not as debilitating to play out the get-go. I know a lot of people who drop off of Hollow Knight after 4 hours because
Yep.
they're like, this game is mean. It starts out and you don't have a map. You don't have any way to find yourself on the map. You don't have, you have to buy
that's
the
true. Yeah,
thing
yeah.
that marks you on the map, and then you have
The
to
checkpointing is pretty unforgiving. It's
Checkpointing
also
is
like
very
a
unforgiving.
like,
Hard to find your way around.
it's a very drab first few hours.
It
like
is.
just in general, visually and just playing it. It's just and you push past it and it gets better.
But then you ride your first bug taxi. And
Yeah, and
everything
they
is-
showed those off in the trailer, the new ones of those.
So a faster paced intro.
I think something to introduce you to the game a little better, because I think a large part of what this game was born out of, and I hate making this comparison. I specifically did not say the words Dark Souls in my review because I don't want to compare it to it. I think that the Hollow Knight Silksong and Hollow Knight as a whole has moved past probably what that was, because I think Dark Souls was definitely an inspiration for this game.
Right.
And I think the game has grown out of it. And I would not be opposed to seeing it leave behind some of those things, like in Hollow Knight, when you die, you drop all of your money and you have to go back and fight your ghost to get the money back. I wouldn't be opposed to just like those mechanics not being in the game and them treating it a little bit more like a traditional Metroidvania and moving away from some of that stuff.
Cool. So, Brian, when Link's Awakening was announced, everyone thought of you. When Hollow Knight was announced, everyone thought of you, Tom. And when we got this rumor earlier this week, everyone tweeted and texted me. And the rumor is that Scalebound is being revived as a Switch exclusive. And let me emphasize rumor.
What a noise.
If you're confused,
rumor.
she is Khaleesi. She is the mother of all dragon games.
This originally was supposed to be an Xbox One exclusive. I was incredibly excited about it. I guess the best way to describe it is you play as a cool, edgy dude who has a pet dragon, and it's an action RPG. And
Platinum, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Platinum, and also
He's got
there
Beats
was
by Dre headphones.
yeah, and there was also some co-op options as well. The initial trailer showed him playing with some buddies, and like all of that just speaks to me on many different levels. But it got canceled on my very first day at IGN. Yep.
You
I
did
didn't
it.
know that.
I know. Yeah, my very first day of IGN, we got the news that this was canceled.
Were you sad?
I was incredibly sad. I almost cried. No.
Did we hire you to cover this game?
You know what? Maybe. Why didn't you just fire me that day? It's like, oh, just kidding. This game's not coming
I
out.
wouldn't do that. I also don't have that power.
So this this came from Nintendo
That
Insider.
looks so cool, though.
Uh-huh.
It looked awesome. I was so excited for it. But this
a
comes
crab,
from Nintendo
right?
Insider, and they said,
Kragan.
I have confidence in my sources to report that it is my understanding that Scalebound has been resurrected as a project to be released as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Given Microsoft's previous involvement, it remains unclear to me whether development has been completely rebooted from scratch or at the least its ambition scaled back.
Right.
Further to this, I believe that Scalebound is likely to be the game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo is reviving, that Game Informer's senior editor had hinted at on Kind of Funny Games last week. And on top of that, a previous creative producer with Platinum Games, Jean-Pierre Kellens, highly doubts that these rumors are true. So
we don't know.
So
We don't
there's a
know.
lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
think that the concept of Nintendo resurrecting a dead game is definitely feasible.
Especially if Platinum is like,
Yeah.
hey, we
Yeah,
have
'cause
all
they've
these
done it before.
assets.
Well, also in an era where everything they ship sells like crazy. Like this is, it's very different than going back in like the Wii U era and being like, we're bringing out the dead. I saw some speculation that it could potentially be Project Hammer, which is
Oh my God.
what is
which-
that?
very different game than Scalebound. Much smaller, I would say, based on what we saw so far. It was a Wiimote-driven game about giant man who swung a hammer around a city and broke stuff.
I don't buy that. That is ever coming. That's an NST title. I don't buy that's ever coming back.
Really?
No way.
You don't think so?
Project Hammer. That's like, then you might as well go back to the old retro games like
So-
Car Combat or whatever.
The thing with Scalebound is that it was canceled because from what I hear, it wasn't working. Like it was
Right.
fundamentally not
I've
coming
heard-
together, and it was over budget and over time. And
I've heard so many different things. I've also heard that I can't remember exactly who said this, but I recently read an article that fans were expecting too much from the game, and they were worried that this game would never live up to those expectations, so they canned it as that was one of the reasons.
wow, thanks a lot.
And that's
fans.
why they don't want to show a lot of exclusive Xbox games well before they're ready to be released, because they don't want to have overly high expectations on games.
I personally don't think they should show any games well before they're released because that never goes well for anybody.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like all the footage is basically just fighting a giant dragon and a crab. Right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting to rewatch this though, because I haven't rewatched this footage in a long time,
Same.
and how much the character designs just look like Final Fantasy 15 now.
Oh yeah.
Which is very funny to me in retrospect. The other thing though
Got
is
it.
could
I found a new recipe.
this could also be, if it is true and this is a game that is being resurrected on Switch, I think that one of the things that you mentioned is this could be a completely different game that just uses the name and maybe some of the aesthetic, right? Like this could be like when Prey 2 was rebooted and was just not the same in any way besides a name.
I know this joke has been thrown around a lot, but I have to say it. A lot of people are saying it might be scaled down
Oh
Ooh,
God.
I like that.
Yeah.
because it's coming out on the Switch.
Scale down and switch bound.
I mean, if you took the IP and the character models and the assets and the music and all the stuff that went into what this is, and you rebuilt a new thing from the ground up for Switch, I'd be super into that.
There's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of work to create all that art, all those
Yeah.
characters, all those skins, all of that.
Yep.
It'd be smart for them to reuse it if they haven't reused some of the pieces in other games before.
I
My
always
money,
wondered where that stuff goes, by the way. Like if you build a 90-foot
into-
tall crab and then your game gets canceled.
Goes into
Can you
Creature
sell-
of heaven.
Can you sell it to like a mobile dev?
the
in
Unreal
China?
Asset Store.
I've
Yeah.
also heard
Creature Heaven.
some speculation that maybe Platinum took some aspects of Scale Down and put it in Astral Chain, which I hope is
Or
I s-
Bayo 3.
Yeah, I mean they could do a lot of things with the assets that they made.
If Bayonetta fought that
But-
crab, that would not be unusual for her.
It
No.
Wouldn't be
It
out of
would not.
character.
No.
Maybe they'll give her a pet dragon.
My
Or
money,
crab.
my money is on Scalebound is dead, and this is all just talk. But
Don't kill my dreams,
I'm sorry,
Tom.
Casey. I'm sorry.
Twice?
Sorry.
I literally said last week, what announcement would they have to make on the Nintendo Direct to make me cry? And it's like, announce Scalebound for Switch. So,
Really?
Yes. I said that last week. And then, like, 4 days later,
I'm
this
just
rumor
trying to
pops up.
protect you. Just temper
I
the
know.
hype.
If
I'm
this doesn't
tempering.
happen-
I'm tempering hard.
If this doesn't happen, Casey, that means this game you were really looking forward to was basically canceled twice.
Yeah.
Could you? Is there someone you can ask without getting banned from Twitter
I don't.
on whether this game is coming?
We could,
Someone please just DM me, I guess.
There you go.
About Scalebound, please.
Yeah, that's all she ever
Only
wanted.
Scalebound.
yeah, that she specified.
Anything
Just-
with
For-
dragons, but this one especially.
Well,
Yeah.
Pet Dragon, action RPG, co-op, giant monsters,
I
like.
feel like we're really underplaying the crab part here. This is
Yeah.
a big component.
The giant crab falls under the giant monster umbrella.
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right.
So anyway, moving on. Some more kind of sad news, but maybe better in the long run, is that Shovel Knight is delayed from its original April 9th release, and this is specifically King of Cards, Showdown, and the Treasure Trove Amiibo 3-pack. They said Yacht Club Games said the delay will allow for the developer to bring these to the highest level of quality, just as we have with previous Shovel Knight games. So they delayed it to make it better, which sounds fine.
No,
Yeah.
Amiibo delayed. Those have
Yeah.
been on my I pre-ordered them like a decade ago, I think, and
Oh,
they
man.
keep on
Oh,
getting
yeah,
pushed.
I saw the prototype mock-ups of them in a
Yeah.
glass case like 2 PAX Primes ago.
Mm.
Like they were there, but I mean, I feel like they don't want to launch them until the content's there.
Yeah, I feel like the delay, the Amiibo delay, is 100% just tied to the
Yeah.
software delay.
Yeah, but they're really gorgeous looking, which is cool.
It's a weird Amiibo release. You know, like these kind of smaller characters that aren't that well known.
Well, it's an
Like
assist
the loot
trophy in
goblin.
Smash, so
Yeah, that's true.
I saw the Yacht Club Games guys live streaming when Smash Bros came out, and the moment that Shovel Knight, they just were playing with only assist trophies on high so that they could find Shovel Knight, and when
Aw.
Shovel Knight came out, they all cheered.
that's so cute.
very cute.
That's great.
I'm so glad that he's part of that story now.
Yep.
Yeah, this is kind of a bummer because this is, I think, like one of the original deliverables from what that game promised to be, which Shovel Knight is awesome. It plays awesome on Switch. You can buy the full collection, which has all of the DLC released so far, which are just big enough to not be full-on sequels, but feel kind of full-on sequel-y. You know, it's not really like Hollow Knight 2, but they're big enough.
But Hollow Knight 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Shovel Knight.
I think it got delayed because they're afraid to launch against Box Boy and Girl.
I agree. Yeah.
It must be it. That
2019's biggest AAA
million-
mega franchise.
Game stores will be empty because everybody's too busy downloading it from the
Yeah,
eShop.
it's weird to see how many games just moved out of the release radar
Yep.
from that.
Yep.
They're all hiding.
So really quickly, if you're watching this on IGN.com on Thursday, this is should be out now. Yume Nikki Dream Diary is launching on Nintendo Switch. This is a reimagining of a 2004 cult horror classic. This is a game that Chloe Rad, our previous features editor here, one of our features editor, really, really loved. So that's why I want to mention it. I just want to give it a shout out. Someone here really loved it. Check it out. It's weird. It's a weird game. But I want to play it. I think it's cool.
Do you know what Yume Nikki translates to?
I don't. What does it mean?
Dream Diary.
Wait, so the
Seriously?
title is Dream
The game
Diary.
is called
Dream Diary.
Dream Diary. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's like,
What is it about?
Amazing.
it's about this diary. that
Okay,
holds
I
the
understand why they did that.
Someone did their homework on the bus.
Okay, no. They kept Yume Nikki to appeal to people who know what this is, but added Dream Diary to people who don't know Japanese.
Yeah, there you go.
So
I just thought it was funny.
yeah, it is. It's really hilarious.
I feel like I will say I feel like if you released a game that was just called Dream Diary, people would overlook it.
What if you called it Dream Diary, Dream Diary?
Then it'd sell a million.
Yeah.
Or like
It would
Dream
rise
Diary,
weird.
comma Dream Diary.
X2. We talked a lot
Dream
about
Diary,
Dream Diary
colon
today.
Dream Diary, Diary of Dreams.
Any other weird Japanese games coming out?
No, but there is another indie game that Tom wanted to put on here
Yeah.
called Baba Is You.
Baba Is You.
And that's coming out March 13th.
It finally got a release date. Finally. If you're listening to this live, then yesterday. And I'm super excited about it. Baba Is You is a puzzle game that has been kicking around like GDCs and events and has won all these IGF awards already. It's super clever and weird. I highly recommend you look up Baba Is You. Essentially, it's a very simple 2D game where the rules of the world are spelled out in little block letters on the screen. So there'll be 3 little blocks. One says Baba, and then the next says is, and then the next says you. And that means this little character named Baba is you. And then there'll be like, wall is stop, and you can't go through walls. But if you push stop out of the way, then you can go through walls. And one will be like, flag is win. And so if you can't reach the flag, you can push like win over to wall. And so it's wall is win. And then you touch the wall and you win. And so, like,
Or you can make yourself the flag.
or you could do like flag is you, and then you're controlling the flag, or wall is you, and then you're controlling all of the walls on the map.
What? Sounds great.
Yeah.
It's a very strange, weird game, and it's incredibly cool. If you have a PC, there's a it started as a Game Jam game, so if you look up Baba Is You on itch.io, there's a free like 13 level version that you can try right now. That's like really it'll sell you. It's so cool.
Oh, that's great.
Tom, real quick, what is Baba?
Baba is this little dude. He's a little 4-legged white little
Not
guy.
the Baba Yaga witch or anything?
No, I don't think
the
so.
chicken leg?
I don't think they go that dark.
No, okay.
How is Baba formed?
How is Baba formed?
So, also, really quick, I just wanted to mention this because I thought it was really funny, but Bayonetta director Hideki Kamiya wants Bayonetta in Mortal Kombat 11. He tweeted Mortal Kombat cross Bayonetta.
That's it?
Yep, that's what he. So, I mean, do you guys think Bayonetta would even fit in as a Mortal Kombat character? Would this
Bayonetta in
actually
every
happen?
fighting game. Every fighting game.
Every time somebody is like, I want to see this character in Mortal Kombat, my answer is always like, how willing are you to watch this character's heart get torn out
Well,
and their brain exploded and their legs severed? Like, it's like they just do heart. Like, people are like, put Shaggy in.
Can't they do what they do in Wargroove where like the dogs just run away when they get beaten, like something like that?
I mean, if Kamiya wants it, Kamiya's down.
Yeah,
See
for
Bayonetta's
sure.
head get ripped off. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, Ed Boon responded to him and then Kamiya blocked him.
wait, seriously?
No, just kidding.
Okay,
but
I'll
it could happen.
That's Kamiya's style on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
If you tweet something in English, you're blocked.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the Switch version of Mortal Kombat getting like Mario, except he's the only character that just can't get fatality and he
Yeah.
runs away every time.
I mean, when the Wii U launched, there was that Scribblenauts game that had Mario characters in it, and the entire premise of that game was that you could add adjectives to characters and items and change them. So you could be like giant zombie or like, like old well. And if you tried any of those words on any of the Mario characters, they just didn't work.
No,
Because
like Fat
Nintendo was
Mario
like,
didn't work.
no, you can't make old Luigi. And we're like, why? We want to see what he looks like. And they're like, no.
No.
But Mario and friends are here and deal with it. So that could totally work for Mortal Kombat.
Non-canon.
Maybe. So another thing. So Piranha Plant just came out, and he got it
Amiibo too.
got.
It's so
yes,
good.
It did. But he got a Palutena's Guidance little Easter egg, which is when you go to Palutena's Temple's pit, tap down to Downpaw, and a little cutscene will play. And it was announced that the new DLC characters will not be getting this little Easter egg.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah,
we're
it's a
done
bummer.
working this hard. They have to like create all the animations for Kirby already and the powers. They're like, no.
The Piranha Plant one was really long too.
Yeah.
So
Really?
It's a bummer, but I understand.
We should do a video of all of them.
Yeah, we should.
It's still
good
like
idea.
We should do that.
amazing to me that for every new character that comes out on the checklist of things that they have to figure out, one of them is what happens when Kirby eats him.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And then obviously when they add new characters to actually think about one day releasing an amiibo. And in the case of Piranha Plant, actually right now, I didn't bring him today, but the 3 Ice Climbers, King K. Rool and Piranha Plant came out, and Ice Climbers and Piranha Plant are probably 2 of my favorites.
You almost
out of
like
the entire lineup.
You showed them to me the
so
other
good.
morning, and it almost gave me that like itch to
Oh,
get
no.
back out there in the
Fall under the
streets,
pressure.
get those amiibo.
They're finally getting rid of those stupid see-through stands.
Yep.
Like they actually have poses that are designed so that they can stand on their own. So Piranha Plant in the pot, and then the Ice Climbers are actually hanging onto these like 3 pieces of jagged ice.
They're so
instead of
cool.
these stupid see-through clutch holders. It's really nice.
K. Rool with his like sultry point that he's doing is
Got the
gross. Like
golden belly button.
yeah, he's got this big gold belly sticking out. It looks awesome. They're so well done,
So
and they're making a snake.
they are making a snake.
That is a good one.
Good snake. But hey, next week. Next week is Pokemon Day on February 27th.
There's
and
no such thing.
Next week's show will air after this, so I wanted to tell everyone what's going on with that so you don't miss anything. Build-A-Bear Pokemon bundles will be up to 30% off on
Start
February
with the big
25th
news.
to 27th. Hey, man, I'm excited about this because
Casey.
Build-A-Bears are expensive. And if you messed up on Valentine's Day and still need to give a gift to someone, this is a good one.
That's a little
Hint,
late, no?
hint.
This is weird, but we have the Super Mario Build-A-Bear at home, and one on every month that my daughter is like a month older, we take a picture of her next to the Mario Bear.
Oh,
and she
that's
started
so
off like this
cute.
like sad little egg next to it, and now she's like big enough to smile and like put her hand on it and stuff like that.
And then
So-
in 60 years, the Mario Bear's got like one eye hanging out.
yeah, we're actually
Oh,
thinking
my
about doing that for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of her life. Where like she's married, and I'm like, "Here's the bear." She's
Man,
like, "Stop it, Dad."
I have a friend who still has her original stuffed animal. It's called Puffy, and it's like a platypus with no arms. And it is the like rattiest old, like the stuffing is just somehow inexplicably gone.
Oh my god.
Looking forward to what that'll look like in
yeah,
20 years.
yeah, it's not gonna be good.
So we're also getting a new collection of clothes for PokemonCenter.com. There's going to be a streetwear collab for 10.deep, and there are going to be trade and play events for Pokemon TCG, which is a trading card game between the 23rd and the 24th at most GameStops and some Best Buys and EB Games. So you can go to these events and play Pokemon cards, get booster packs, get some free goodies. It's just a community events hosted at game stores.
Are you going to do this?
I mean, I want some free stuff, maybe. I don't know. Leaving my house is hard.
That's true.
But also, if you do want to stay at home, Twitch is going to marathon Pokemon all day on February 27th.
Yeah, this is a good list.
TV show?
What about a
Yeah,
direct, Casey?
and movies.
we get a
We
Pokemon
don't
Direct?
know if we're going to get a Pokemon Direct, but Treehouse will be at the Nintendo store for Pokemon Day, like on different days all month, actually.
Ooh.
So I don't know. Hopefully something will happen. I'm not trying to get your hopes up. Don't listen to us.
What do you think the likelihood is?
The likelihood.
Yeah.
The likelihood is
Percent. Point something
Mean
percent.
making her commit like
there's
this.
a 15% chance of rain.
Oh, man.
wow.
That's not great.
Well,
Okay.
Could
so
happen then.
expectations are low, but
Happen.
you never know.
So hey, last week Nintendo Direct announced a bunch of demos that are available now, as well as a new game,
Yes.
Tetris 99. And I know you guys have played some of them. There's Yoshi's Crafted World and Daemon X Machina, and then Tetris 99, like I mentioned before. Let's start out with Yoshi's Crafted World. What
Oh man,
do you think?
I really, really like it. Yeah, it's not by any means. Are you downloading it right
I
now?
got them all.
Oh, good.
Yep,
yeah,
Grace
me too.
got 'em.
This is the demo, at least, that is available right now on Nintendo Switch. We're seeing
not
some-
have that.
We're seeing some other levels here. It is very much not a challenging platforming game. The level there is available right now is way more collection based. It feels like a 3D platformer in a 2D space. It's really smart because it's a side scroller, but there are multiple planes that you can A, kick back and forth to, and B, target with your eggs. If you played Yoshi games in the past,
You guys are so shy.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If you play the Yoshi games in the past, you probably know that they always start off like brutally easy. Like
Brutally.
Yeah.
it is ridiculously easy. But then if you keep going, the challenge really starts to unfold, and 100%ing them becomes like this actual, pretty laborious thing. So it's cool that this demo showed off some of those elements. The demo basically stars Yoshi. I believe you can play it in co-op. And you can play through the entire level one way, and then it'll flip around, and you can play it backwards and collect different things, such as Poochies, or you can hit cows and stuff like that. I 100%ed this demo, and I wanted more. I couldn't wait for it. I'm really into this game.
When I played this game, I felt like it was just a Yoshi being mean to Shy Guy Simulator. Because, I mean, it's just Shy Guys like hanging out, Shy Guys kissing, Shy Guys sitting down looking at flowers, and it's like, stomp on their head and hit them with eggs.
Yeah.
It also instructs you to hit cows with your eggs in the background. It's like,
Paper cows.
when did Yoshi become such a jerk?
Yeah, he's a hater.
Those aren't real.
That's true.
That's all.
They're
paper
real
crafts.
in Yoshi's Crafted World.
Well, but I do like the depth of field elements that you.
I
can
do
throw,
too.
It's also really pretty.
eggs to the front and the back, and then there's a juggling element too. Have you noticed when you hit one of the back elements, it says one hit, and you can pelt another egg at it, and you get 2 hits. So there's
cool.
like combo scores or something. built
I
in.
really like the when you're targeting. I never really in the old Yoshi games really liked the egg aiming thing where it just kind of like swings up and down. This one uses HD rumble, and so when you move the cursor over like the line, you feel this tiny little. It's really satisfying, and so it makes aiming eggs and harassing Shy Guys on dates super fun.
But I love I love the backside stuff when you see like the front, somebody carefully crafted something, and then you go to the back and you see the little stickers from when somebody bought it, or the ingredients.
The weird like real world, almost Pikmin-esque element in it. Like
the train is made up of a can.
The
right?
train, one of the cans on the train is one of those like Japanese. It's like a non-brand Japanese coffee things like that you get from like Tokyo vending machines. And it's like the Black Boss coffee or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
But it's like covered in duct tape so you don't see the logo.
Boss.
Yeah, and I love those things. So it's so cool. Yeah, I really like this game.
You get to play it yet? Or no, not yet. Okay.
But I'm
Gotta
very
get it.
excited. I like the going in and out of like the dimensions part of it because I'm glad that this is adding a bit of a twist. Sometimes these like crafted or paper or yarn versions feel just a little too derivative.
Yeah.
And this one looks like it's doing some interesting things. So I'm excited to still play the demo.
So overall, positive response to Yoshi's Crafted World.
Definitely.
Let's talk.
And
about-
Ryan played it some more too.
And he did write a full preview of
He
it.
said, so look that up on IGN. But he said like the levels he played were very easy, and he's hoping the challenge ramps up.
Right. If you beat the demo, it kicks into a short video that shows you a variety of other levels you can play that look a little more challenging. So hope that happens.
Yep.
So what did you guys think about Daemon X Machina? A game that we've never played before. It's entirely new. I know Zach isn't here, but I know he doesn't like it.
Right.
Well,
Start things off on a
yeah.
positive note.
And doesn't like it. You got to put an asterisk and say
Yes.
so far, right?
It's the
Obviously, we
demo.
only played one part. I didn't think it was a very good demo because it feels slow.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a takeaway for a lot of players. Like there's clearly interesting stuff there. This team knows mechs. And I like the art style, and I like a lot about it. But when I was playing it, I wasn't having that much fun. I just kind of felt slow.
I definitely think it feels a little bit clunky, but I'm willing to attribute that more to myself than the game at the moment. 'cause
You
I
think
haven't-
you made it clunky?
No, well, I haven't been able to play it that often, so I'm not entirely attuned to the controls.
Yeah.
So me getting used to the controls of any game will feel clunky. So I feel like it's one of those things, as they fine tune it, as I get used to how everything works, it'll feel better as time goes on.
Yeah.
Clunky and slow are also criticisms that they're probably looking for right now. Like if this is a very feedback heavy demo,
Yes.
those are the types of things that they can tweak and they can change and they can try to improve.
Yep.
Whereas just being like this game is bad is like not
No,
would be worse for them.
You totally nailed it because they specifically are soliciting feedback.
Yes.
And so, like, if we sound negative or we sound overly critical, I think it's like they're actually looking for people to go like, make this like this. Or
They
like,
are sending out a survey to everyone's email who plays the demo, or most. And if not, they invited everyone to tweet them their suggestions.
Yeah, there's it's like when you play Starlink, the ships feel right.
Yeah.
When I started to play this, I'm like, not loving this right now. But again, like there's obviously a lot more to this game, and hopefully there are upgrades to the mechs that give you more speed, or maybe they'll tweak it. I like Daemon. I like Machinas.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling this yet. I'll play the demo again and see if anything clicks now.
I love how many customization options there are.
Right.
You can change everything down to the person who's piloting the mech and the mech itself. You can change the heads, the body, the arms. You can add details. You can change the colors. You can make
custom robo.
You can't give him a shaved haircut though. I was pretty bummed
and then
about
you
that.
can also augment your person. Like you can augment their eyes to have better like targeting sensors, and it changes the physical way that your eyes look. I think there's a lot of really cool concepts in the game, and even though the combat even felt a little bit clunky at this time, I honestly kind of like that.
Yeah.
It actually kind of reminds me of like a Zoids game I used to play on the GameCube called Zoids Battle Legacy.
You played that?
I love that.
I've never met anyone who played that.
100% of that game. I got all of the best attachments for all of my Zoids, and they were amazing.
What
and
made
super
you do
great.
that?
I like Zoids and I like mech games, and I just like doing that kind of stuff.
I've never met any. We had that game in the office, and I played it and said, I don't think I'll ever meet anybody who's played this game.
No, I loved it, and I also
great.
love Zoids. I would get models from Japan shipped to me and just build them with the Japanese instructions.
Zoid's the one with the robot cats and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that
you
game
got
too then.
Liger and Shadow Fox and Command
Liger,
Wolf.
I remember that. You get different guns for him and stuff.
Yeah.
I played that game too.
Yep.
Sorry, Pear.
Zoids.
So anyway, I like mechs. I think they're cool. I like customizing my mechs. I like flying around in them and shooting things.
Yeah, robots are cool. I hope this game comes together.
Robots are neat. I like it. I think it looks cool.
Yep. Give them feedback. Play it.
Yes.
If you agree with us, tell them the same thing, and then hopefully somebody will put some.
Honestly, my biggest
in
complaint
there.
about this game is that when going through the menus to look at your customization options, instead of just showing you the text, it like is typed out. So it types out slower than I can read it. And that is my biggest complaint. Is that going through the menu to try and customize my mech is slow because of that.
Tweet them.
Yeah. Like, hey man, change your text. But no, hey, what about Tetris 99?
Man,
This is a game that is totally out for
that is
Nintendo
fun.
Online subscribers.
What an utterly humbling experience this game. I really like this game. This is a nice surprise, and I think it's sort of it's making the routinely mediocre experience of Nintendo Online. The gathering of okay things.
Well, classic, like it
a little
was
bit
a
better.
virtual console, and this is the first original new game.
Yeah, this is a Nintendo Online exclusive game. It is a battle royale game about Tetris, where 99 people play Tetris at the same time, and they're all targeting each other and knocking down blocks and lines. And it's like really smart. It's really fun. There's not a lot there, but what's there is great. So I like it a lot.
So I mean, from the get go, it feels like a piece of a Tetris game, right? Like
See
if
what you
you
did
if you go back, if you play Tetris on the DS, no pun intended, Tetris on the DS had a 10-player online multiplayer mode that actually had that little element where the top screen showed your opponents. So you had that kind of mini view. This one takes that concept and puts it makes it really like battle royale like, in that there are 98 opponents, all these tiny screens all over, and you can target whom you send your junk blocks to. So that's it's something that's been in a lot of Tetris games to like pick, or Puyo games to pick whom you want to give the gift of junk. And this game though, and this is my one piece of criticism, is like if you're unlucky, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that happens in other battle royale games too. If you're hiding behind the wrong bush and there are like 10 enemies, you're dead, and there's an element of chance there.
Or
That's
if
the
you're
funny part.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing with a controller with a terrible D-pad, as I discovered.
Yeah, like
talk
most
about
pro
that a little bit.
controllers.
Yeah. So
Man.
if you're playing on the pro controller and you're using the insta drop D-pad up on the D-pad, and you're accidentally doing this, go into the Switch menus and do a test of your controller and go left, right, left, right, left, right on your D-pad, because you may have one of the earlier controllers that have that issue.
I have two of them.
Where it registers up
too.
instead of
Yeah.
left, right sometimes. Yeah.
It's never been an issue before in all the 2D platformers and Metroidvanias I've played on Switch, which there are thousands. And this is
Because you won't detect it. Usually it's like you look up for a second, but it doesn't cause
and
any
it's
issues.
like it's so
ruins your
frustrating.
game.
It it straight up kills you. And this is so frustrating when you're like I said, there's so much I love about this game. When there's like you start with 99 players, and when it goes into like 50, it goes like dun 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 dun, and it starts the music speeds up, and it's so fun. Like it just gets really frantic, and you start moving around. You get better.
So nervous, but even at the beginning, I'm already nervous.
Yeah, me too. Well, you get into this sort of like Zen-like rhythm, like Tetris, but then you hit left on the D-pad, and it automatically drops your like this big stupid like square in the middle of your map, and you're like,
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you're like, how am I supposed to work around
right
this?
Over where I was waiting for.
It's so bad.
So obviously you can use the Joy-Con even a single sideways, then you don't really have directional control, like whom you want to target. You can like set it to go against attackers and stuff. Like you need that stick for it, right?
I just took my Joy-Cons out and put them in a grip and played like that.
Otherwise, the Nintendo Online controllers, the NES controllers are pretty good. Those have good D-pads.
But you can't use the stick to target people, right?
So,
okay. Yeah.
It's not as easy to use. But yeah,
it's
maybe
a really
just
good game,
use.
and we like it.
What's everyone's like record? Like have you gotten
Low,
8?
53.
53?
I got 8.
I got 11. That was the best I've
I
done.
got to 26 yesterday, and I lost because of the up B, and I just quit.
We have a full review of Tetris 99 too.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I will say I do. It's free right now. I do want to see. I'm gonna get hell for this, but I want to see some more cosmetic options. I would love like an 8-bit skin with like the old school music and stuff like that, which I'm sure they'll sell me.
I don't think you'll get this. I think this is a standalone multiplayer mode that maybe in the future will get a bigger Tetris release again, which will include a battle royale mode like this. Like
so how are they making money off of this? They're subsidizing off the Nintendo Online.
Like everybody's talking about this game right now, and
You
people
need Nintendo Online.
like
subscription.
I saw somebody post in our review. I read this sounds awesome. I tried to download it, but you have to have a subscription. It's like yes, that you have to be a subscriber to Nintendo Online. This is your perk.
I said a similar thing last week. I think this is 100% just a marketing vehicle for Nintendo Online, and I would not be surprised if it never gets another update.
And it's streamer friendly. It's like, you can imagine certain YouTubers freaking out when they get beaten and making for some entertaining.
I noticed
viewing, right?
it's in like the top 10 or 12 on Twitch, which is like two of the biggest games being streamed in the world right now are games we didn't know about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch when somebody does really well with this game, and it's fun to watch somebody get frustrated because they accidentally drop a giant.
Like I said, it's like really humbling because I didn't know what like T-spins were and there's all this high level Tetris stuff where I'm just like, whoa, that's insane.
So we should mention that. Obviously, when you do a Tetris, when you do a full line and clear all 4 lines, you're sending more junk blocks to your opponents.
Yeah.
But there's a T-spin move where if you fit a piece by spinning it into a gap, you actually clear, like the lines you clear, you get a bonus too. You send more junk your opponent's way. So there are, if you go to the IGN wiki for Tetris 99, there's some tips on how to maximize the pain for your opponents, whoever they may be.
Pair with the hot tips.
That's right.
So, hey, we're almost out of time, but I really wanted to get to this question because I really love Majora's Mask, and this question mentions it. So, this is question block. We have one question, and it's from Agent Smith. And he says, with so many Zelda remakes throughout the years, is it ever worth it to play the original game first, then try the remake? Some of us didn't grow up with Zelda, so we miss out on the nostalgia. For example, I'm currently playing Majora's Mask on Virtual Console because I like the creepy art style more than the remakes. But I intend to play the 3DS remake if I end up liking the game enough. Is this a good or bad idea? And what do you recommend for people that intend to play Link's Awakening? Play the old version or wait for the remake? Or both?
Ooh.
I mean, first of all, for Link's Awakening, I would say play the remake first and then go back, because sometimes it's really fun to discover the demake. Like, like for people who have experienced a game like Mario Galaxy or, Odyssey first, or even Sunshine, to go back to the original games and see the 2D sprites is always super fun to see like where it came from. And I think with Link's Awakening, I do think there'll be some really interesting upgrades that make this kind of color limited game a little bit more fun to play, and then you can go back and experience it. The thing about Majora's Mask that he says, that's a stylistic change, right? The 3DS version, I think, is a better game. It is more streamlined. The original N64 game had the most horrid save system. It is a painful save system.
Okay, look.
And they upgrade the Bomber's Notebook. They have some upgrades that are quality of life improvements that make that game better, just like Wind Waker.
Yeah.
The fast sail helped the game.
It looks a lot better. The save system is a lot more forgiving and better.
Yep.
The Bomber's Notebook is more detailed, which helps you with your side quests. This is better. but they changed a lot of other things that objectively made this game worse.
Okay, you got to talk about that. What is that?
So one of the first things you do when you get the Zora mask and Majora's Mask is go into the water and swim. And it's an incredibly fun mechanic because you can like jump around in and out of the water. You can do spins. You can jump around like a dolphin. It's really cool. It's really fun. You can spend a long time just experimenting with this movement style. And I guess they thought this was too difficult for people to do. So in the remake, they made it so Zora Link swims at an incredibly slow pace, and to do that fast Zora swim movement, you have to expend magic. But at the same time, there isn't a whole lot of magic under the water in the Great Bay because that mechanic didn't originally exist.
I see.
So,
yeah, I do remember that change.
So that is less fun. And then at the same time, like there are moments in the game where you are forced to use that kind of movement where you're moving fast to traverse through like difficult paths under a timer. But you haven't had the time to experiment with it because it expends magic. So you don't play with it like you did before.
Interesting.
And at the same time, they kind of stunted Deku Link's movement as well, so that the way he hops on water is slower. Like you have to like you have to like pick up momentum to get it. And what I used to do in the old game is to do the spin attack, and that would carry the momentum forward, but they took that out of the new game. So getting around the swamp is considerably more difficult and annoying. And
in the new one.
In the new one, yes, it's bad. And they also changed the bosses so that they all have very obvious weak points now.
And they give Link a gun, which is weird.
No, but
the entire game is upside down.
In some of the bosses, this works. But for example, like,
don't spoil it for Agent Smith now.
I don't
you can
know,
make
man.
up a name.
Well,
Like
so
I just won't say. But anyway, they changed a lot to try and make it easier, I think. But in doing so, made it worse. And I know the save system was very punishing in the first game. But you had to play a song that would go back to the first day in a cycle of 3, and that was the only way to save. You could also save using the owl statues, but that made you quit the game.
Yeah, there was no interrupt save the way
so
you wanted it.
The interrupt save in the remake is a lot better for a handheld system, and it was necessary. The Bomber's Notebook was another great addition, but the other things that they changed I feel like was unnecessary and made it less fun.
So here's my question with this though then, because that's all totally valid feedback. The difference between the Majora's Mask remake and the Link's Awakening remake in my mind is that Majora's Mask to Majora's Mask 3D was they were very similar, whereas this is like a completely new game as far as looks
they're very different
and creation. So in that case, what would you recommend?
Well,
would you go original or wait for the remake?
To piggyback on that too, I think a lot of your qualms with the remake are based on the fact that you put a significant amount of time in the first one. Yeah, you played
the other one first.
And so you have a nostalgia for the way certain things unfold and the way certain mechanics work. But if you were removed to have never played either of those things, which is hard. It's like I Men in Black wipe your brain, right? And you come in and I'm like...
I would get to the swamp and be incredibly frustrated with how annoying jumping across the lily pads is.
I didn't encounter that actually. Fair point.
Really?
So I played through both the original and the remake, and like I didn't encounter that annoyance.
I don't know. I just felt really slow, and I was like, "This can't be the way it was."
Deku Scrub Link is my least favorite thing about the game too. I always hated being the little bush.
Yeah.
See, my thing is like Link's Awakening is $4 right now, and I think there's a 50% off deal through My Nintendo. So it's like it's less than a coffee to bite the bullet and check it out, and just to have an idea of what it's like, and then you have it on hand for when the new one comes out. And it's weirdly like this is a game that Nintendo has never really re-released. It was originally released in black and white or puke green, and then it got a color version like 5 or 6 years later, and then didn't come to any virtual consoles or anything, never really got ported. It was playable through backwards compatibility through their whole Game Boy line, but it came to 3DS, and that's it. And that's just the DX version. So
what I'm actually hearing is, so you're recommending getting it just because it's cheap, and like hopefully there'll be some significant changes. Like I'm sure they're not going to do the forest the same way. It was so easy to get lost in Link's Awakening.
I don't think they're going to mess with the structure too much. I think a lot of what we're going to see changed are quality of life stuff. In Link's Awakening, there's this, and Skyward Sword did this too.
Item swapping, all of that.
And every time you picked up like a rupee in Skyward Sword, they're like, you got a rupee. A rupee is money in Hyrule. you can save up money and like you could be 5 minutes from the end of the game and they're like, you got a rupee. A rupee is money. You're like, shut up. Link's Awakening did the same thing where like there's no Triforce in that game, but there's a triangle, a powerful triangle-shaped item that you got as a drop from enemies, and every single time they got it, they're like, you got the Triforce of Power. You can make your sword really strong and go around and fight all the guys. They tell you that every single time. So, I don't know, maybe telling you that once or twice in the remake would be like, speeding things up a little bit. A lot of stuff like that. And obviously the button thing, which we've already confirmed because if you watch the footage, he's holding a sword, a shield, and jumping at the same time.
That's right.
And in the original version, you could only assign 2 of those things because it was a 2-button game. So yeah, I think there's a lot to clean up there. Like I said though, and again, I'm biased, but I replayed this game over the weekend. I totally think it still holds up. I think it's like one of the best 2D Zelda games ever made. And it's worth $2 to $4 to check out right now.
So the panel is divided.
Yeah. So, well, I guess I'm sorry I went on a tirade about Majora's Mask. I still think the remake is a good game.
I can't believe you hate that game. It's so great.
It's my Majora's Mask is my favorite game for those of you guys who don't know. I
Favorite game
really
of all
love it.
time.
Yeah, it's my #1 favorite game.
But no dragon.
I mean, there's like
Dragons in that
Volvania
game?
in Ocarina of Time,
That's
which
Ocarina of
isn't
Time.
in
That's
Majora's
not-
Mask.
yeah, okay.
There's a big moon face though.
There's
Yeah.
there are Dodongos.
Oh yeah, there you
and
go. That's a dragon.
Dragonite.
Good. Okay.
But I guess some remakes like are similar enough that it doesn't matter which one you play. It's just whatever is easier to access. But others are going to be really different, like Link's Awakening. So just look up on that specific game and see maybe what other people have said about it and choose based on that. Yeah.
And if you play the original
Good, but
now,
good
you'll
enough.
be a fan like Brian and then get excited for the remake.
Exactly.
Right.
Do that. So that is all the time we had today. We actually went a little bit over. I hope that's all right with you guys. But thank you so much for watching again. This is Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. You can catch us on IGN.com every Thursday at 3 p.m. and on YouTube every Friday also at 3 p.m. And remember, NVC is the only place you can
Get the
Get the
thing.
thing.